Guess who's back, 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 back again, again, again. Shady's back. I am back after, I think, 3 months, 3.5 months maybe. Of course I did say I was going to immediately come back with another video and then didn't. If you're interested in what I've been up to in the meantime, I'll put all that at the end of the video. But first of all, I have a very important question. Why are Irish writers who already live on a weird little island obsessed with writing scary stories about even weirder, smaller little islands? I feel like I've read a lot from Irish writers love to just put even weirder people on a little island and make it even creepier. I feel like I should join the trend and I should write a story. Speaking of weird little islands, today I am going to be talking about Where I End by Sophie White, and I've been meaning to talk about this for so long. I read it, I think last year. It immediately burrowed into my skin like a little parasite and has not left, and it makes me want to rip my skin off in a good way if that's possible. So I'm going to talk about this today. I'm wearing green, if you can see, to match the book. This gorgeous cover. It's got all this like bubbles, because it is quite related to the sea. And I do have some bubbles here. Also the green works because I am absolutely green with envy that I did not write this book. There's Sophie there. Look at her. That I didn't write this book, and also not only is this book now nominated for a Shirley Jackson Award, but Sophie White is the first Irish person to ever be nominated for a Shirley Jackson Award, and it's well deserved. It is absolutely well deserved. I would definitely vote for it. I'll just read the back of it. So there's a quote here. My mother. At night my mother creaks. The house creaks along with her. If that doesn't creep you out, I don't know what will. Eileen has never left the island. Her silent, bedbound mother is the survivor of a private disaster no one will speak about. Eileen desperately wants a family, and when artist Rachel and her baby move to the island, Eileen finds a focus for her relentless love. So this book, I tell everyone to read this book, because it's one of those things, it's like, you know, when you find out something really messed up and you just have to tell people about it. That's pretty much how I feel about this book. The book is about a young woman now called, now this is an Irish name and I think I was pronouncing it wrong until I heard Sophie saying it. I think it's Ilon. So don't feel bad if you can't say it. Half of Irish people can't say it. But little Easter egg fun fact here, it's quite similar to the Irish word for island. Layers, I know. But Eileen is a young woman. I think she's just turning 20 at the start of the book, and she has lived her whole life on this little island with her grandmother and her mother. Now her mother, since she has known her, has been bedbound. She has been completely non-verbal, completely paralysed, so her grandmother Morag has been looking after her, and now that she's turning 20, she's going to be the one to look after her, because Morag wants to go and do some work in the local factory, bring in a little bit more money. So while she has been helping her grandmother ever since she was old enough to do so, this will be her first time alone with her mother and being the sole caregiver. Now that all sounds kind of normal, right? That sounds, you know, it's a bit different, but you know, a bit normal. However, poor Elaine has pretty much been treated on this island by everyone who lives there, all of her neighbours, all of her community, as a human curse. She is spat on, children are warned to stay away from her. Even her grandmother, who she lives with, doesn't show her any kind of affection or any kind of positivity whatsoever. She's never touched in any way, she's never greeted in any positive way, and on top of this, you know, her own mother is not in any way able to communicate with her or be affectionate in any way to her. She's just, in Elaine's head, basically a thing that she desperately wants to give love to and get love from, but it's not possible. So she's had a really difficult life, and she does have a father. About once a month, her dad, who is a native of the island, her mother is actually from mainland Ireland, but they sort of switched places after her mother's incident. You're not quite sure what happened to her mother and how her mother ended up being bedbound, but about once a month her father comes back to visit his wife and his child, and while he does he's probably one of the most positive influences in her life, he has sort of insisted on her getting some kind of an education and stuff. He at the same time just distances himself from the entire thing. You know, he isn't staying to look after his wife or his kid. He's leaving his mother there to do it. So it's a bit of an unconventional family, but in Elaine's first day even, as her grandmother goes off for work, she decides to go out and get some freedom. She knows that her mother isn't going to move or anything, obviously, so she feeds her and she goes off to have a swim, and she goes off to the most dangerous side of the island where there are likely no people, because as much as she would love to interact with people, she knows she should avoid them because they certainly don't like her. And while she's down at the beach, she finds a baby in the sand, and very quickly the baby's mother comes back out of the water, and we're introduced to Rachel, who is a brand new mother. Her baby is only a couple of weeks old, and she is an artist from the mainland, and she has been given a grant to come out to the island and has been commissioned to do some work for an event that's happening in a few weeks. So she's just brought her brand new baby out, and she is getting set up in her new place on the island, and she meets Elaine, and she is the first person to treat her like an equal, to treat her like she's just another person. So immediately she becomes infatuated with this woman and her baby, and agrees to come over to her house pretty much on a daily basis and help her out with the baby, help her out with cooking meals and stuff, so that she can focus on her artwork. And of course, in order to do this, she has to leave her mother alone and also lie to her grandmother, and sort of keep it under wraps that she's doing this. And the whole time as well, she's worried that Rachel might talk to the other villagers and be told that Elaine is this awful, horrible curse that she shouldn't interact with at all. And that's kind of the basis of it. We're following Elaine as she's sort of navigating this newfound freedom and dealing with her mother by herself, and through her we start to sort of piece together, you know, what may have happened with her mother, why the villagers might not like her in the first place, and all these things. Now, why is this book so messed up? if you read a lot of like splatterpunk or like nothing extreme horror, nothing in this is probably gonna blow your mind or anything, but I think it's because I wasn't expecting it. First of all, when I went to the book launch of this in Hodges Vegas, it's published by Trump Press, by the way, which is a small press in Ireland that is run by two women, and they mostly do literary fiction, but it's always like top class books. So when they got up and said this is, you know, the best Irish horror novel of the 21st century, I was a bit like, is it though? And like I know Sophie White from the Creep Dive, one of my favorite podcasts that I mention all the time. So I know she's into real messed up horror stuff, but I'd only read her like sort of literary fiction, commercial fiction before. And my impression of the Irish literary scene, you know, there's genre fiction, as they like to call it, isn't seen as like a great thing, you know, which is a bit hypocritical in my mind, because it's in our bones. Like, we're Irish, we're made for horror, you know, Bram Stoker, Oscar Wilde, Sheridan Le Fanu, like, it's in our bones. We are creepy, weird little people obsessed with ghost stories and monsters. So to turn your nose up at horror is a bit odd in this country, but yeah, I wasn't expecting, you know, I was expecting maybe a little bit of gothic, a little bit of, you know, implied ghosts or something. So when I got what I got, I was absolutely speechless, almost catatonic. It's just so it hits on so many taboo things, like things you're really not used to. You're not used to hearing about or like seeing in horror movies and stuff, and it just, oh, it's so creepy and so weird and so wrong, and it's absolutely messed up and horrible. And she really leans into it. She really goes there. She does not hold back with this at all. And like, there's a lot of body horror and almost torture and just awful things that I don't want to read about again anytime soon. But it really makes such a good story, such a conflicting and heartbreaking story, because you feel so bad for Eileen and the life she's had to live and the way that she's been treated for seemingly no reason, nothing that she's done herself. And when she starts to sort of cross these lines she's never crossed before, you're obviously like, you want her to get some freedom, you want her to make friends, but then she gets a little bit too, not too confident with it, but her confidence goes in, you know, a different direction, and she starts treating people kind of how they've treated her, and you're like, yeah, I get why she's doing it, but that is the most messed up shit I've ever heard of in my life. And it's so just, it just, yeah, I'm never gonna forget the things that happen in this. It's so messed up. And the ending as well, jaw was on the floor, absolutely on the floor, couldn't believe it, didn't want to believe it, really. So messed up, so just like, my brain has still not really recovered, and it's been like 6 months since I read this. The writing, I think part of the reason that the horror works so well in this is she really sets up, like, the setting is fantastic. She did so much research, being on like a small island like this, and the island itself almost has sentience, and the sea is really insidious, and there's just this sense of danger being around every corner, and like everything there is just could decide to take you out at any moment. So no wonder, you know, the people are so superstitious there as well. And like the writing just sort of, it flows so easily, and like you carry along with Eileen and with what she's doing throughout her day, and then just one random sentence will just be the most brutal like set of words that you never wanted to be together, but that is her reality. And then she's back off making porridge or going for a swim, and it's just like so many like gut punches in this, and by the end of it you don't know whose side you're supposed to be on, and it's so messed up and so oh my god. So there's a lot of yeah, a lot of taboo weird things here. There's also, you know, some queerness in this. Like Eileen pretty much starts falling in love with Rachel. She's never had someone that she could look at in that way, and she's never had someone be nice to her in that way. And yeah, it's just, this is a messed up book. This is messed up, and I will be reading it again, obviously, but I need some time to heal from the trauma that this gave me, and then I will be reading it again. But like, if you can grab this book, you absolutely should. This is about family trauma, about, you know, I keep thinking about that quote, I can't remember it exactly, but it's like, the child that is shunned by the village will burn the village down just to feel its warmth. And that's like, that fits this so much. Like, Eileen has been shunned so much by everyone, and it's almost no wonder that she ends up doing messed up things. But it's like, can you blame her, or should we, like, I don't know. And it's also like real tragedy in here. Like, there's a lot of things with, obviously, like mental health being ignored or not handled in the right way. I feel like there's a real trauma in this as well, about having children and giving birth, and what that like does to a woman, how it changes someone who's just given birth, and not just physically but psychologically, and the sort of the superstitions and the way that women are sort of pushed to, like, you know, oh, you get used to it, you know, everything will fall into place, you'll just naturally know how to be a mother. And that is not the case whatsoever for a lot of people. So it just yeah, you need to read this before it wins the Shirley Jackson Award. Get in there before. Make sure you can say that you got in there before. A deeply creepy and compelling novel, John Connolly, and Beautiful and Strange by Louise O'Neill. And yeah, that's, can't say any more than that. Definitely grab this. So that is Where I Am by Sophie White. I've been meaning to review that for so long. Thanks so much for watching and sticking around. I will be talking about myself for the next few minutes, so feel free to click off if you're not interested or nosy like I would be. So what have I been doing for the past few months? I've been growing a mullet accidentally. Can't wait for this to be normal again. I don't know if I showed this. I got this tattooed on my hand. I don't know if that was in the last video. I'm scheduled to get this one done, but right now this is broken. I broke my wrist. I thought I sprained it, when I was roller skating, but it's definitely broken, so we're gonna see how I can fix that. In my last video I talked about the books I read for the Booktube Choice Awards, that I did a judging panel for that. I did film a review of the first 2 books of that, but it was all over the place, and I just never edited it or put anything up, so I'm gonna redo it and talk about those books. What else? I've just been like lying around doing nothing, but I think mentally I needed to do that. I've been trying to get a career break sorted from my day job and it's still not working out, but I'm focusing on my Fiverr beta reading stuff. I've also started a new TikTok book writing related thing, and if you've noticed, I've started putting up a couple of YouTube shorts as well, because I wanted to do a little flash fiction thing for July. So I'm writing a flash fiction every day, which is fun so far. But I want to get back into making videos again. I want to get back into doing lives, so I'm going to be going live in the next few days. Keep an eye out for that. I will be announcing it, so that I can use it to be more productive and get my reading and my editing and whatnot done for Fiverr. I'm also determined by the end of this year to have a novella out, so for those lives I'll also be writing a novella that I'm working on. So yeah, that's about it. Yeah, nothing too crazy has been happening, but I just haven't been in my headspace to film. So yeah, that's what's happening. Thank you so much for watching and sticking around. Thank you so much for all the people who've messaged me and assured me that they're waiting for me to come back. I really do appreciate it. And it really did encourage me to come back. Hopefully I'll have a better hair situation next time. I will be back very soon, hoping to do at least 1 video a week on the usual stuff. So thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to pick up Where I End by Sophie White. It is absolutely worth it, and I'm sorry as well. But I shall see you in the next video.